Dr. Elias Ward stood quietly in the medical bay of the interstellar space station Virex 7. He had just finished checking a minor injury on a Martian trader when a soft beep came from his console. He looked up. The message was short but strange. Commander, Takal of the Zyrian High Fleet requests a full physical examination. You are ordered to comply immediately. Confidential. Elias blinked twice. Commander Takal? The leader of the most feared warrior race in the sector? That Commander Takal? He read the message again, then checked the sender. It was real. No error, no joke. The request had come straight from the diplomatic office. He had no choice but to follow it. But something about it didn't feel normal. The medbay doors opened with a soft hiss. In walked Commander Takal, tall and armored in dark metal, her sharp eyes glowing faintly under her helmet. Two Zyrian guards stood behind her but did not enter. She raised one hand. "Leave us," she said in her deep, commanding voice. The guards obeyed without question. Elias felt his heart beat faster. He had seen her on news screens, leading battles, giving speeches, but now she was standing right in front of him. He stepped forward. "Commander, I'm Dr. Elias Ward. You asked for an examination?" She nodded once. "Yes, it must be done privately. No scans stored, no records sent." Elias hesitated. "I follow medical laws, Commander. If there's a medical emergency..." She raised a hand again. "No emergency. But something is wrong. I cannot trust my own people. You are the only neutral doctor on this station." Elias felt a chill at her words. Zyrians were known for loyalty and strength. If she couldn't trust her own crew, something was seriously wrong. "Understood," he said softly. "Please follow me to the private chamber." Inside the private exam room, the lights were soft, and all recording devices were switched off. Elias checked the settings twice. Takal removed her helmet, revealing a face that was both fierce and striking. Her skin was a dark bronze, her hair pulled tightly back, and her eyes sharp like a blade. She sat on the examination bed, silent. Elias began his work carefully. First, he used a handheld scanner to check her vitals. "Your heart rate is elevated," he noted. "Your muscle tension is higher than normal, even for your species." She looked straight at him. "I have been feeling pain here," she said, pointing to the left side of her chest. "It started 1 week ago. It gets worse every day." Elias frowned and adjusted his scanner. As he passed the device over her chest, the screen blinked red. "There's something inside," he said slowly. "Not natural, not part of your biology." Takal didn't move. "Describe it." "It looks like a small device, maybe a tracker, or something more dangerous. It's connected to your nerves, near your heart. If activated, it could damage you badly." For a moment, she was silent. Then, she said, "I suspected this. Someone placed it there during a healing session after my last battle. Only my closest officers were present." Elias couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You think someone from your inner circle did this?" "Yes. If this becomes known, I will be seen as weak. Zyrian leaders must never show weakness. That is why I need you." He stepped back, trying to think. "If this is true, you're in danger. This is more than a medical case. You should inform the council." "No," she said firmly. "Not yet. If I expose the traitor without proof, it will cause chaos. I need to remove or disable the device first, quietly. You are skilled. You are human. You have no political interest here. That makes you useful." Elias was quiet for a moment, then he nodded. "I'll help, but it won't be easy. I'll need time to study this, and I'll need you to return for more checks. Also, we must act like this is just a routine medical exam. If your enemies suspect anything, they might act faster." Takal gave him a short nod. "Agreed." Later, that night, Elias sat alone at his desk, looking at the data from the scan. He had kept no official records, but he had made a private copy to study. The device inside Takal's chest was unlike anything he had seen. It didn't match any known medical tech. It was small, sharp, and dangerous. He wondered who could have placed it, and why. Was it meant to track her, control her, kill her? And why had she trusted him? A human? Zirians usually looked down on humans, but she had come to him with open truth. That meant she was desperate. Elias knew one thing. If he didn't act fast, she might not survive. And if she fell, the peace between her people and others might fall with her. Far above the station, in a Zirian warship floating silently in orbit, a pair of cold eyes watched the med bay recordings. They saw nothing suspicious, just the commander, entering for an exam. But the person watching knew the truth was hidden in silence, and soon, someone would come to silence it forever. The next morning, Dr. Elias Ward stood again in the private med bay, waiting. He had barely slept. His thoughts were full of questions about the strange device in Commander Takal's body, about the danger it represented, and about the mystery of why she trusted a human like him. At exactly 0600 hours, the doors opened. Commander Takal entered, her steps calm and firm. She wore her armor again, her helmet tucked under one arm. She nodded at Elias without saying a word. "You came back," Elias said. "I said I would," she replied. He gestured to the medical bed. "Let's continue. I've reviewed your scans. The object is not natural, and it is placed very close to a major nerve cluster. Removing it won't be easy." Takal placed her helmet on the nearby table and sat down. "Then we must find a way." Elias took out his tools, non-invasive scanners, detailed imaging probes, and a surgical mapping unit. As he began the scan again, he kept speaking to keep her calm. "You've been carrying this for more than a week. You didn't feel anything unusual before?" "I thought it was a wound healing slower than usual. Our bodies regenerate faster than yours. I believed it would pass, but it didn't." "No." As the scan moved over her chest, Elias stared at the screen. The object was about the size of a small stone, but it had sharp edges and was pulsing faintly, just enough to show it was active. "I think it's powered," he said, "which means someone can turn it on. Or already has." Takal narrowed her eyes. "Can you disable it?" "Not yet. I need to study its structure first. If I try to remove it now, it could trigger something. It's sitting near your heart. One wrong move." She nodded. "I understand the risk." Elias paused for a moment. "May I ask something personal?" "Ask." "Why me? Why not someone from your own fleet? Someone you've known for years?" Takal looked directly at him. Her gaze was sharp, but not unkind. "Because you are not one of us. You are neutral, honest, humans. Speak plainly. That is rare in our world." Elias felt a strange mix of pride and pressure. He had never imagined someone like her, a powerful alien leader, would speak to him with such trust. "I won't fail you," he said quietly. "I know," she replied. Later that day, Elias sat at his lab desk with a holographic model of the object. He had recreated the structure based on the scan. It looked like a small blade, folded inwards, with thin wires curling out like a spider's legs. He zoomed in. One of the wire ends seemed connected to a signal node, a receiver. That was the key. If the device was being controlled remotely, it meant the enemy was near. He leaned back and sighed. Someone on the station, or maybe on Takal's own ship, was waiting for the perfect moment to activate the device, a kill switch hidden inside her, and if that happened, it would look like natural failure. No proof of murder, no war, just silence. Elias knew he had little time. When Takal returned in the evening, Elias was ready with a new plan. "I can build a blocker," he said. "Something small that will confuse the signal. It won't remove the device, but it might buy us time." Tikal looked interested. "How long will it take?" "Half a day. But I'll need materials from the engineering deck. I'll tell them I'm building a new diagnostic unit. No one will question that." "Good," she said. "But I need something from you too," Elias added. She raised an eyebrow. "What?" "I need to scan the inside of your armor. If this goes wrong and you're attacked, I want to build an emergency patch that connects with your suit's systems. It could send out a distress signal or stop your heart from overloading." Tikal hesitated. For a Zyrian, armor was sacred, like a second skin. Letting someone see the inner tech was a sign of deep trust. After a long pause, she nodded. "You will have access, but only you." That night, Elias sat in his quarters working on the blocker device. It was a tiny disc, no bigger than a coin, but it carried a signal jammer tuned to match the readings from the implant. If it worked, the enemy wouldn't be able to control the device, or even know it had been found. He worked until his eyes burned. He didn't stop. In another part of the station, far from the med bay, a shadow moved through the halls. A cloaked figure accessed the maintenance records of the human doctor's lab. The figure saw new equipment requests, medical tools, power converters, signal blockers. The figure's eyes narrowed. Too much activity, too much interest. The order was given. Observe the human. If he interferes again, remove him. Back in the med bay, Elias met Tikal early the next morning. He held the small blocker disc between his fingers. "This might feel a little cold," he said, as he placed the disc just under her shoulder where her armor would cover it. He pressed gently. The device clicked into place. "There," he said. "It's on! If someone tries to activate the implant, the signal will bounce back. It will look like a failure." Tikal gave a rare smile. "You do good work, Doctor." He smiled too. "Thank you." But just as he stepped back, the station lights flickered. Then the alert sirens began to ring. "Unauthorized breach detected on Deck 7. Security teams respond." Elias looked at Tikal. She was already putting her helmet on. "Stay here," she ordered. "They may be coming for me or for you." Before Elias could reply, the doors slid shut behind her, and she was gone. Elias stood alone, the sound of alarms echoing in the room. He realized something important at that moment. This was no longer just a medical problem. It was war in disguise, and now he was in the middle of it. The red lights flashed through the corridor of viewership 7 as alarm sirens echoed across the station. Dr. Elias Ward stood in his med bay, staring at the closed doors. Commander Tikal had just left, fully armored, calm, and ready for a fight. Elias's heart pounded. He didn't know who the enemy was, but he knew one thing for sure: they were watching. He moved quickly to his console and erased all records of the recent scans. He didn't want anyone tracking what he had found inside the Zyrian commander's body. He also locked the blocker device's frequency. Only he and Tikal could access it now. Then something caught his eye. A shadow moving outside the medbay's window. Elias stepped back. A figure in dark clothes was standing at the far end of the hallway, staring in his direction. The figure took one slow step forward. Before Elias could speak, the lights flickered again. The figure disappeared. Commander Tikal stormed down the station corridors, her boots striking the floor with force. She moved like a storm, fast, silent, deadly. Her helmet scanned for heat and energy signatures. She was not surprised to find her second-in-command, Commander Varl, already on the scene at Deck 7. "False alarm," he said. "System glitch, perhaps. No signs of intrusion." Tikal didn't answer immediately. She simply stared at him. "There are no glitches on Zyrian-controlled tech," she said coldly. "You know that." Varl shrugged. "Perhaps human systems are weaker, or perhaps someone caused it," she replied. There was a long silence between them. Takal turned away. She didn't trust him. Not anymore. Ever since her injury on the last battlefield, his behavior had changed. He was colder, too calm, too ready to take command. She left without another word. Elias returned to his quarters to rest, but he couldn't sleep. His mind was full of thoughts. He had examined something inside Takal's body that could destroy her. And now, someone had tried to create a distraction, possibly to cover an attack. He sat up and opened his hidden drawer. Inside was a small handheld scanner. He had modified it earlier to detect hidden signals. He powered it on and walked slowly around his room. Then, near the wall vent, the scanner blinked red. Elias crouched and pulled open the vent. Inside, hidden behind a loose panel, was a tiny camera device, not from the station's security team. Someone had been watching him. He smashed it instantly and took the pieces to his lab for testing. Back in the med bay, Elias scanned the broken camera. It was made with Zyrian metal, but the chip inside it had non-Zyrian coding. That meant someone from outside the Zyrian fleet was working with someone inside it. A secret alliance. And it likely meant that whoever planted the device inside, Commander Takal was not acting alone. Elias knew he couldn't keep this to himself anymore. But if he told the wrong person, they could silence him. Forever. He needed to talk to Takal again. Face to face. That evening, they met in a hidden maintenance room near the underdeck. It was small, dark, and away from the cameras. Takal entered, quietly, her armor shining dimly under the weak lights. Elias showed her the broken spy device. "This was in my room," he said. "Someone is watching me, and they're using tech from both your world and someone else's." Takal took the chip and examined it. "Slanar code," she said after a moment. "A stealth race. Good at staying hidden, but they never act unless they're paid." "Then someone hired them," Elias said. "Someone who wants you dead, but quietly. No blood, just silence." Takal's eyes narrowed behind her helmet. "I believe it is Commander Varl," she said. "He knows I am injured. If I fall, he rises. But if you accuse him without proof, it will spark war within my fleet," she finished. Elias nodded. "Then we find proof." The next day, Elias put on a disguise, a maintenance worker uniform. He had modified his scanner to detect the signal from the implant. If anyone had a device to control it, the signal would match. He walked slowly through the station, passing Zyrian officers, human engineers, and merchants from many planets. Then, near the upper war hangar, the scanner blinked faintly. He turned, pretending to fix a pipe. A group of Zyrian officers walked by, Commander Varl among them. On Varl's belt was a small case. The signal blinked stronger. That was it. Elias quickly took a reading, then walked away before anyone noticed him. Back in the lab, he analyzed the signal. It matched the one in the implant inside Takal. That small case on Varl's belt. It was a remote activation device. Now they had proof. That night, Elias met Takal again and showed her the reading. "He carries the trigger," Elias said, "and I think he plans to use it soon." Takal looked calm, but her hands curled into fists. "He will not get the chance." Elias stopped her. "If you confront him directly, he'll deny it. He'll say you are weak, paranoid. You need to catch him in the act." Takal thought for a moment. "Yes," she said. "I will let him try." "What?" "I will fake a health collapse. He will think the blocker failed. He will come close to watch. That is when we trap him." Elias hesitated. "It's dangerous." "I've faced worse." The next morning, a quiet message went across the Zyrian ship. "Commander Takal has collapsed in the med bay. Her condition is serious." Commander Varl was the first to arrive. He stepped into the med bay, where Takal lay on the bed motionless. Elias stood beside her. pretending to check her vitals. "She is fading," Elias said in a soft voice. "I think the implant was triggered." Varl walked closer, his face calm. He reached into his belt, pulled out the control device, and pressed a button. Nothing happened. Suddenly, the lights turned bright. 2 Xerian guards stepped in, weapons raised. Takal sat up, fully alert, holding a data tablet with the full signal log. "You are under arrest, Varl," she said coldly. "You betrayed your commander and your people." Varl's face turned pale. He reached for his weapon, but it was too late. The guards tackled him down. As the medbay returned to silence, Takal looked at Elias. "You did well, Doctor," she said. "Without you, I would be dead." Elias smiled, tired but relieved. "I just did my job," she nodded. "And you may have saved more than me. You may have saved a war." The station corridors felt colder that day. The news of Commander Varl's arrest spread quickly among the Xerian officers. Many whispered in hidden corners, unsure who to trust. Some believed Takal's claim, others thought it was a trick to hold power. Elias walked carefully through the med bay halls, knowing eyes were watching him. He had saved the commander, but in doing so, he had stepped into a dangerous game. That evening, Elias sat in his small quarters, repairing his scanner when he heard a sharp knock on the door. He froze. No one was supposed to visit him unannounced. He opened the door slowly. A woman stood there, a Xerian officer, but not like the others. She wore a simple uniform, her eyes calm but serious. "Dr. Ward," she said quietly, "I am Captain Lyra. I am here to help you, and Commander Takal." Elias stepped aside to let her in. "How can I trust you?" "You don't have to. But if you want to stay alive, you should listen." She sat down. "The coup is not over. Commander Varl was only the beginning. There are others in the fleet who want Takal gone. They will stop at nothing." Elias's heart raced. "What should we do?" "Keep moving, stay hidden, and trust no one, except me." Meanwhile, on the command deck, Takal gathered her closest advisors. Her armor gleamed under the bright lights as she spoke firmly. "We must root out the traitors in our ranks," she said. "But we must do it carefully. If we fail, our entire fleet and the fragile peace will fall." Her eyes scanned the room. "I will need allies outside the Xerian fleet. Humans have shown their loyalty. Dr. Elias Ward has earned my trust. He will be our link." Her advisors nodded, some reluctantly. Back in his quarters, Elias worked with Captain Lyra. They exchanged information and planned their next steps. "Your medical skills saved the commander," Lyra said. "But now you must use your mind as a weapon." Elias nodded. "I'm ready." Suddenly, the lights flickered again, and a warning sounded. "Security alert! Unauthorized access detected in Med Bay." Elias and Lyra exchanged quick looks. "Stay." "Here," Elias said, grabbing a stun baton from the wall. He moved toward the Med Bay doors. Inside the Med Bay, Elias found a cloaked figure trying to access Takal's armor systems. The figure looked up, eyes wide in surprise. Elias charged forward, shouting, "Stop!" The figure pulled out a small device, aiming it at Elias. Elias dodged and struck with his baton, hitting the attacker's arm. The device clattered to the floor. Security arrived seconds later, capturing the intruder. The attacker was revealed as a former Xerian intelligence officer loyal to Varl's faction. Under questioning, he confessed that the coup was planned to remove Takal and replace her with a puppet leader. Elias and Lyra realized that the station was no longer safe. "We must move the commander," Lyra said. Takal agreed. She prepared to leave the station, but first, she called Elias to her side. "You have risked much for me," she said, "for your people, and for the peace between our worlds." Elias shook his head. "I only did what was right." "No," she said. You showed bravery and honor, qualities rare in the galaxy. I offer you a place by my side, as my medical officer and advisor." Elias was stunned. "I accept," he said after a moment. As they boarded the shuttle, Elias looked back at the station. He knew this was only the beginning of a long fight, for justice, for trust, and for a new alliance. Takal's voice came through the comm. "Human, you must be ready. The galaxy is watching." Elias smiled, feeling the weight of the future and the power of hope. The shuttle hummed softly as it left the orbit of Virex 7, carrying Commander Takal, Dr. Elias Ward, and a small team of trusted officers away from the growing dangers of the station. The stars stretched endlessly outside the windows, silent, witnesses to the fragile hope they carried. Inside, Takal removed her helmet, revealing the calm determination in her bronze skin and sharp eyes. She turned to Elias. "You have done more than examine me, human. You saved my life and my command." Elias smiled. "I only did what I could." Takal's gaze held a new respect. "Your people may surprise the galaxy yet." The journey back to the Zyrian homeworld was tense. Threats lingered in the shadows, enemies watching, waiting. Elias spent hours in the med lab aboard the warship, studying the strange device implanted in Takal's chest. Despite the blocker, the implant was still a threat. "We must prepare," he said to Takal. "If your enemies act again, we need to be ready to defend you and remove this device safely." Takal nodded. "Your skills and courage give me hope. I trust you." Elias felt the weight of responsibility, but knew he would face it with pride. When the warship entered the orbit of the Zyrian homeworld, they were met with tension. The Council of Elders awaited them, powerful leaders who controlled the fate of the fleet. Takal stood before them, her armor shining. She presented the evidence, the implant, the signals, the traitor's confession. The council murmured, some in shock, others in disbelief. "You accuse one of our own of treason?" a grizzled elder demanded. "Yes," Takal replied steadily. "Commander Varl betrayed us. We have proof." The council debated for hours. Some wanted swift punishment. Others feared civil war. Elias quietly observed, knowing that in this room, every word could tip the balance. Finally, the council voted to remove Varl from command and to place a special guard around Takal. They also agreed to start a joint human Zyrian medical program, a first step toward rebuilding trust. Takal turned to Elias. "Your help was vital." Elias smiled. "Thank you. It was an honor." Days later, Elias was invited to witness a rare Zyrian ritual, the Blood Oath. It was a ceremony where warriors honored those who had proven themselves worthy. Takal approached him, her voice low but clear. "Human, will you accept the honor of being blood-proven? It is a title given only to those who have shown courage and loyalty beyond their kind." Elias hesitated, then nodded. The ritual began. Takal placed her hand on his chest, a simple but powerful gesture. The other warriors watched in silence. In that moment, Elias felt a deep connection, not just to Takal, but to a future where humans and aliens could stand together. As the ceremony ended, Takal spoke quietly. "This is only the beginning. Many will oppose us, but together we are stronger." Elias looked out at the stars. "Then let's face the future, side by side." The great hall of the Zyrian Council buzzed with a quiet energy as Commander Takal stood at the center. Her armor gleamed under the bright lights, and beside her stood Dr. Elias Ward, now more than just a human doctor. He was a symbol of a new alliance. The council elders watched carefully. Their faces were stern, yet there was a flicker of hope in their eyes. Takal began to speak. "The times have changed. We face enemies both outside and within. Trust cannot be given lightly, but it must be built. She looked at Elias. The human saved me when my own kind tried to destroy me. This is proof that cooperation between our species is possible and necessary. One elder stepped forward. Your courage is known, Commander, but the fleet will watch closely. Do you believe this human can help us all? Takal nodded firmly. Yes, I have seen his skill, his honesty, and his strength. Elias Ward will serve as ambassador between the Xerians and humans. Together, we will heal old wounds. Later, in the quiet of the med lab aboard Takal's flagship, Elias worked on new technology designed to protect the commander and others like her. The implant was gone, but the threat remained. Here, Elias said, handing Takal a small device. This will monitor your health and send alerts if anything unusual happens. It links to your armor systems and my med lab. We can act fast. Takal examined the device. A wise precaution. I will wear it proudly. Their eyes met. A silent understanding passed between them, a bond forged by trust and struggle. Days turned into weeks. The joint human-Xerian medical program grew stronger, with humans and aliens working side by side. The distrust began to fade, replaced by respect and friendship. One morning, Elias was called to the command deck. Takal awaited him, her expression serious. Elias, she said, there is a message from the Human Council. They are impressed with our progress and wish to expand. Cooperation. Elias smiled. This is good news. Takal nodded. It means more opportunities, but also more challenges. The peace was fragile. Not everyone welcomed the changes. Some Xerian warriors whispered in shadows, refusing to accept a human's place among them. But Takal faced them with strength. Let those who doubt watch us succeed, she said. The future belongs to those who dare to unite. Elias admired her spirit. And I will stand with you. One evening, as stars shimmered beyond the ship's windows, Elias and Takal stood side by side, looking out into the vast galaxy. Do you ever wonder what humans truly mean to the universe? Elias asked quietly. Takal smiled softly. I once thought humans were weak. Now I see they are survivors, fighters, friends. Elias chuckled. We do our best. Your best is enough, she said. Together, we will build a new order. The galaxy was watching indeed, and with Commander Takal and Dr. Elias Ward leading the way, the future looked brighter than ever.